Hello, welcome back for Unit 3 of our American History 1 course here at Waldorf University. And we're off to a really good start. I saw some really positive things in your work last week as we put together both the discussion boards and our other assignment. And I want to continue to challenge you to be bringing in that credibility enhancing research. One of the things I'm seeing consistently across bibliographies is an appeal to what I would call tertiary or the lowest level of sources, things written for a general audience by non-experts that are great for gaining initial familiarity with information, but aren't doing anything for you in enhancing your actual research. If you think back to Unit 1, we worked on those peer review resources. I saw a little bit of a drop-off from incorporating those into your research in Unit 2 in many cases. And I would challenge you to think about that as we continue forward. And this week, you got two different things to do, both a little bit different. First, over on the discussion board, you're going to have an opportunity after you look at the required unit resource for Unit 2 to read the Declaration of Independence. So this is getting a primary source and building a familiarity, taking a look at one of the most important documents in our country's history. And the transcription of this is an important document that's written by what's called the Committee of Five in the text, and you'll learn more a little bit about that. And when you think about it, it's broken into 5 parts: the introduction, the preamble, the section 1, section 2, as well as the conclusion. There's 27 grievances against England and King George III across the document. And what I want you to do is figure out which grievance you think is the most important to the colonial revolution, take some of the things you're learning in the book and pair an event that you read about with that specific grievance. So you could look at taxation without representation. You could choose something like the Boston Tea Party, or you could look at the Boston Massacre and quartering soldiers with civilians, any of those kind of things. Additionally, in the preamble of the Declaration, the Founding Fathers also declare numerous self-evident truths. I want you to take a look at these and think about which is the most important of all those self-evident truths. These are things that we usually take for granted in the United States, things that we talk about frequently. They come up in political discourse often, but they're things that I don't think we oftentimes reflect deeply on. I want you to consider things like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and what's important and fundamental about that to the American identity. As you're considering the response for the second part, place yourself in both 1776 and the present day. Be thinking about these self-evident truths, and if there's a difference in that truth from then until now. These are all good things that shall be expanded out those posts. That's one of the things I saw on the discussion board last week, is some of us are just being really short. So now we want to take the next step. We did a good job the first week getting the timelines down, introducing ourselves, doing some of that stuff. I saw a little bit of a drop off in Unit 2, where Unit 3, I want to see us building this out, bringing in sources, which should be really easy, and one where it's focused around a primary source, and then really pairing that source with your own analysis as you work through it. The other thing you're going to do is a little bit different, which is the Unit 3 assignment, which is a letter to a family member. And so in the instructions says it's 1776, September. The news of the Declaration of Independence is swept through the colonies. You're just learning of this historical event. You take a pen to paper and write about what the Declaration of Independence means to you. So I've got some questions there to help you work through this in a meaningful way. Sometimes it's going to be a really challenging exercise because people will struggle to balance the academic piece with the creative writing element of it. Don't overthink it. Continue to think about how you're bringing in research, whether it's quantitative evidence or qualitative. When you're looking at things like a lot of people will talk about things like the Boston Tea Party. Do a little bit of research and see how much tea and what the dollar value of that is. Those kind of things can really elevate this response from something that is just not very good to something that's much better. So I want you to identify where you live in colonial America, identify yourself as a patriot or a loyalist. One of the things we take for granted in the modern moment is that everybody would have been a patriot, when in reality, there was actually a much broader middle, very few people over on that patriotic side, very few people over on the loyalist side, and then a lot of people, in the same way we see in our political system today, more in the middle and leaning one way or the other. So create a clear identity there. Share with your family member at least one social, political, or economic event that you believe led the Continental Congress to write the Declaration of Independence, and why it led to that. So again, be pairing your reading, pulling in that content, and talking about it in that way. And then I want you to also talk about, do you believe the Declaration of Independence was the correct course of action by the Continental Congress? A lot of people will talk about the American Revolution as a shift from resistance, where people were hoping to work within inside a system for change, to outright revolution, where they're trying to completely rewrite the social political contract of the country. A lot of times, all the way up to the Declaration of Independence, people are doing things they hope will change the system that they're already living in. We can all identify with this. If you have any kind of a political voice, or if you think about some of these different political issues, we're always advocating for different changes, and we want to be kind of changing the system we live in. It takes a huge shift to then go from there to outright revolution, deciding to completely start from the beginning. And then at the end, I want you to talk about what actions you will take, whether required or volunteered, as America and Great Britain start to wage war. So format it. There's some directions there. If you look at the syllabus schedule, just make sure you're putting a little time, thought, and research into how you're putting this together. It should be a relatively fun assignment as you get working on it. There's a lot of other stuff there that talks to you about different things you can pull in. Again, make sure you're using these different resources, thinking about how you can put your best foot forward, and just really taking the time to do a good job this week. I appreciate the hard work you put into the class so far. I look forward to the great things you're going to do this week. Good luck.